What's going on, guys? Back with another episode of the Smooth Way Podcast. I'm your host, Destin Parker, and always you got the co-host, Kendall Allen. What's good with you, Kendall?
Hey yo, it's Kendall, Kenny, or Kendall. I'm coming through hot like my name was Wendell with a K, but it's Kendall. We on the track. I'm ready to bring these flames back. I'm in my gator room. Lay back. What's up,
That's the
y'all?
that's DMX homage.
I was yeah, I was
I
trying.
give you that one. That's probably one of your better ones right
Yeah,
there.
man. I could have put my notes anywhere where I couldn't do it where I could read my notes and not be looking crazy. So I just wanted to, try to freestyle some D. But it's all right, I
Yeah, I
tried,
like that,
just
man.
try to
Appreciate you, man. Good,
clank.
good, good. I
Yeah,
appreciate it. Hey, you
hey,
sunk that basket. I give you that one, boss
yeah,
man.
hey, take it.
Welcome back, guys. Another episode of the Smooth Way Podcast, guys. We here, Kendall and Destin, man. Bringing the heat like always. New week,
Yes,
new
sir.
us. Let's do this. So let's kick it right off, man. First on the docket. Derek Chauvin
Woo!
trial, at least
Trial.
the verdict of what his what do you call it? The verdict for his case.
Accountability?
Yeah,
His court case, yeah.
his court case was done. Was it this Wednesday? When they do it? When was the
Was it
23rd?
Wednesday?
What's the 23rd?
Or when did we go to Home Depot? That's what. We went to Home Depot during lunch.
So okay,
Maybe it was Wednesday.
say Tuesday, Wednesday, or we say middle of the week, whatever day that is. They gave their verdicts on the different everything that he had going, like, so because he had, I think one was second degree murder, third degree murder, and second degree manslaughter. So they gave their verdicts on that.
Yeah.
They're all guilty.
Mm-hmm.
So with just that little tidbit of talking about that they're all guilty in this type of cases and stuff like that, you had different reactions.
Oh yeah,
From
bro,
especially
there's a lot
people
of
of
different
color.
reactions.
So you had people doing barbecues. You had people, of course, shouting to the mountaintops. You even might have had some people who were more or less not really celebratory, because it's more like, while we're celebrating something that is just natural. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you did something wrong, so the accountability of it all is that's what should have happened. It shouldn't have probably even been the case. You feel like some things don't even have to go to trial for this to be
Yeah.
a thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Kendall, like, when you saw, the verdict and whatnot, what was your reaction during that present moment, if you remember?
Yeah, because I remember working, and I remember the verdict was in, and it was like 4 o'clock when they was like, the verdict is in. I was on a call. Yeah, I was on a call. I want to say it was Wednesday because I was on a call, and then I got off the call. I was like, "Oh, verdict's in." So I was watching. It took an hour later for it to come down, but at first I was kind of like on ease. I'm like, man, this is intense, man. And then one of the people I work with is actually in Minneapolis downtown. He was like, yeah, we're leaving early because we want to beat the riots just in case anything happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it was and it's too watching the judge read them off, and then they had the judge and the side by side of Chauvin, and it was like guilty. He was like, Scooby, guilty, Scooby. And that was like, dang. But I mean, at the same time, really, I mean, yeah, I think it's good that accountability. I mean, it's a video of him doing. I mean, what more proof do we all need? I mean, anything that his defense try to put up, you can just can we refer back to Exhibit A of people not being loud, but they were just yelling for you to get off the man's neck. You got EMT try to help and give services. Y'all say no. I mean, it's all on tape. But the sad, to me, really, it personally, it don't really matter because George Floyd's not here.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Yeah.
Is it? I mean, is it really just? I mean, it's justice, but to me, justice would have been that never really happened over a counterfeit bill.
Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, there's no. I don't think there's any form of means that made sense for the actions that was done at the time. You can tell at that time he felt a sense of power because he's obviously a police officer. That's one. And then you are a white male, because obviously your response in the court when they say guilty, guilty, and he was just leaned back and with his mask up, and you could see on his
You can
face,
see
it's
his
like
eyes. You can see
he.
his. You can
You
tell
see
from the
his eyes
eyes
that
that
he
he
was
was
pretty
like,
much he was like in that
yeah.
bewilderment, like of like what are y'all doing?
Hmm.
This is not. I'm a police officer. Well, that's kind of going out the window because it's
Yeah.
getting to a point now, like where we're we're asking for more accountability. I think we're going past the uniform accountability. If you do something wrong, you do something. You must your actions must
But
be. Go ahead.
I was gonna say too, just a more accountability too. I think for the officers who are co-workers of other officers,
Hmm.
because they mentioned that this trial was the first time that you've seen so many officers testify against a fellow officer. So
Yeah.
that tells you right there that I think for especially for a police officer, I think it'd be great for them to start speaking out
Yeah.
and for them to be able to speak out without being reproached, without losing the job, losing their
Hmm.
rank,
Yeah.
because there are a lot of good police officers who probably be like, we had. I mean, if you're in the union, you just I'm in the union that we're in. I mean, it's sometimes bad things, bad people,
Hmm.
just because they're protected under the union, just skate away. But
Hmm.
at some point in time, you got to be like, man, you know what? Enough is enough. If it's not justifiable, like I know we had the shooting of the young girl that happened. That LeBron had his tweet of the officer next, but as more information came out and people was able to see the video, and then you see, oh, he might have been, if she would have been stabbing her and he would have been there, it would have been, he still would have got some words because you would have let that girl get stabbed and you right there why you didn't do anything. So I think there are circumstances where police officers are put in a situation
Yeah.
where they have to make a decision.
Hmm.
But in George Ford's sense, he was already in the car. Y'all pulled him back out the car. He was already handcuffed. He was on the ground. A big man handcuffed behind his back on the ground on his stomach. What he gonna do to get up? Even if he roll over, if you got some upper, you got to have a lot of upper body strength
Hmm.
to get your butt up and then to be able to whoop somebody. You ain't gonna whoop nobody with your hands tied behind your back,
Hmm.
and then your knee on them, bruh. Your knee on them with your hands in your pocket, but you're so worried why your hands in the pocket.
Hmm.
So I mean, he listen. Uh, praise God for the little girl who recorded all of that, and for the other people who recorded different angles. Because if we didn't have these cellular devices,
He would got away. He would got away scot free. He would be able to fluff up the words in the paperwork. Because rewording things can change the whole
yeah,
outlook on a way a situation happened.
oh yeah,
Um, I fell into that same realm with the people who are like, I actually was probably more surprised that he actually got convicted than not because he did something wrong in my eye. I
yeah,
seen the
yeah.
video. It brought tears in my eyes to watch somebody do that. So I don't care if there was drugs in the system. I don't care if you had a knife in your pocket. If you're on the ground detained and you're just on his neck with your hands in your pocket, you've now crossed the line. And
Mm-hmm.
for other fellow officers to stay in there in the same regard, it just almost just like you're almost turning a blind eye. Because now look what's happened. You have now thrown your whole life away
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to jail, and hopefully, because I've seen the different sentences for each charge.
Mm-hmm.
If they all add up or however they do it, once they calculate it all up, he's gonna be going away for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Now the next thing is they, of course, you have send officers like this to a special type of jail for like correction. I think that I heard like people saying, you guys send him to a special type of jail because he wouldn't last in a regular
Mm-mm.
general population type.
Not in the
Uh,
same state where he been locking people up too.
yeah, he would.
Especially him having a record
Mhm,
of doing inappropriate things, bruh.
mhm.
They just any prison,
Any prison,
I mean, you
they found out more like, hey, people getting cell phones in prisons and they getting dogs in there. I don't know how they do it, but they're getting dogs in there.
hey, listen.
So if you think they can't get that, they can find out who you are, what you
Hmm.
in here for. Of course, they got TV, so they seen your face, so
Hmm.
you can't put him in a
Listen,
regular.
if a pedophile can't go into the prison unsafe, a cop ain't going in unsafe. So,
Yeah, so it's definitely one of those times where I'm glad this case, like I said, you can't bring George Floyd back. We can't.
mm-mm.
There's nothing. There's no amount of justice served that's going to bring that man back.
Mm-mm.
His family's going to still have that missing void in their heart. For the rest of the time being. His kids won't. Father won't be there. I think more or less for people who are watching this, you got to realize your actions mean something, whether there's good
Mm-hmm.
and bad.
Yeah.
Derek Chauvin showed you that his actions that he thought he really was going to get away with this. That is what you see in the eye. That's privilege. I know when he did that, you knew that he thought I would get away with this because
Um,
yeah, and what it does, it puts a taint in it is because we need police officers. There's no doubt
yeah.
about that. We're just I know the defund was thing. The defund the police was a thing, but I think it
Oh,
was
it
more
still
of
is a thing, bro. It still is a
yeah,
thing.
but I think it was more of a call to action. I don't think it's something that needed
Some people are taking it a little too far.
too far. What I mean call to action, meaning more just
Doing something.
bringing more accountability. Not
Okay,
because
I got you.
you don't need to defund the police. That's not what needs to happen. But people are showing you their emotions because y'all are not doing nothing on your side more. Because the good
Hmm.
cops, like you said, Kendall, we need the good cops to speak up more. We need
Hmm.
y'all to come testify more. We recognize there are good cops in America, but we don't. We only see them when it comes to an after situation when they need to show us. Like the one cop that did a video showing us the gun on his dominant hip and the taser on your off hip.
Hmm.
Like I don't. It's cool to show me that video after someone's been killed. But no, we need this. Like you said, if you're leading somebody, you need that to be across the board, across the country, every precinct. I need y'all to always sniff out people who are not here to protect and serve because y'all have a job that sanctions you
Hmm.
to kill, but in a way or a manner because it's by your job
Yeah.
occupation. You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
I honestly rather see people get Rodney King than get shot because at least you. I
You
mean,
survive. Yeah.
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 Even if somebody just give him a good,
Mhm.
give him a good two piece.
Yeah.
You don't
Because
gotta. I
yeah, like
mean,
in the day, everyone's just trying to make it home just to sit on the couch and watch a Friday night TV. I mean,
mhm.
we just want to make it home to watch, our
I
favorite
want.
show.
I want to go home
It's
and watch Logan Paul beat up on nobody's.
yeah, we don't care about that.
I had to throw that in there.
Uh, but justice was served. At least in the sense of accountability. That's the whole
Hmm.
thing of it all. Like the actions that you do hold you accountable to it. This is what needs to be for everybody. No matter what color you are, accountability is the whole thing. If you do something wrong, your actions will put you in a certain sense where it's supposed to be. You
Hmm.
know, um, but did- hey, that's all I got for that. Let's
Yeah, that's all
say,
I got.
moving on. Your boys out in Georgia have been wilding. Now,
Woo!
I don't know the full extent of all these.
Georgia,
And Kendall can
mm,
break this down. I don't know the full extent
Georgia.
of the new voting laws, but I know they have implemented new voting laws to pretty much you making it more difficult for voters to be like out and about. Let's say like if there's long lines, they don't want to give you can't give voters water. Like now that's a law. Like what makes any sense? What's some of the other ones, Kendall? Like you can't.
So, so you've heard about the water.
Mhm,
You've heard about them changing early voting times to
mhm.
where it used to be like 7 to 7. Now it's like 9 to 5. For like obviously during working hours. They took away one in Georgia. They always did this. I think all over the country they have a Sunday where they do souls and polls. So maybe
Mhm.
the churches after they have Sunday service, they all go early vote. They
Okay.
took they took that away. Now the law did do some things. It did expand like the amount of days they allow for early voting. If
Okay.
they just kind of mess, it's like you expand the days, but then you mess with your times.
Okay.
They're trying to get more machines to the areas where you see the long lines, but it's not the fact that you get machines there because there's machines. People who've been in these lines and long behind lines, so there's plenty of machines there,
Mhm,
but it just so happened that only a couple of them work,
mhm.
and that's where you get these long lines from.
Got you.
So, but the main component that they throw all the little noise at you with the water and stuff. the main component of the bill that's the biggest problem, what people need to realize is that instead of your Secretary of State being the head of the elections,
Okay.
like I don't know if anybody was keeping close, but that's the Brad Raxenford guy. He was Secretary of State, so he was in charge of the elections. So he was in touch with the
Mhm.
counties and the different precincts, and as they counted, he certified what they were counting. When
Okay.
they did the 2 to 3 audits, he's made sure that they were correct. He verified. Like they talk about fraud, there really was any fraud. There was a couple of instances of people voting that were dead, but
Mm.
that's a couple out of how many.
Yeah.
But they took his power away, so now he's not the one that can make the call. He's not the one that makes the calls anymore.
Okay.
The Congress of Georgia, their House and their Senate, now have the power to say, "Oh, we don't agree with Brad that this was a safe election, so we're going to revoke his authority over it, and it's going to come back down to us, where partisanship plays a hand." They can also go into the counties because each county have their own election office
Okay.
who certify and verify. They go into the counties and say, "Oh, we don't like that result. We don't care if you had an audit. We can go in and we can say, no, we're not going to accept those votes."
Mm.
Also, they make it to where poll watchers have always been around, but
Okay.
you had a certain amount of where you can go. Now, poll watchers pretty much have free reign to, if you count votes, they can be all in your face. It's like, "Hey, are you doing that?" The rooms you couldn't go into, they're allowed to go in those rooms as well. So now you're just creating a scenario to where an election that our top national cybersecurity chief said was safe, the FBI was safe, government said it was safe, the Secretary of State who's over it, over the recount, over the audit, said there was no fraud found. All those mechanisms that generally kept it nonpartisan, is gone because now the Georgia Congress has control over the state election.
Because the majority of the Congress for Georgia is what they're what is it?
Oh,
They're
Republican, yeah,
Republican.
it's a red, it's
Most
a
of
red
them.
state. I mean, it went blue, but
Yeah, it went blue
I
this
mean,
year. Yeah.
but national elections are different from local because national, your senators are, you're basically running the whole state. So it's gonna be harder. It's harder to win a state or national election. But states and these local houses, I don't know. We definitely have a podcast on this later on. But
Yeah.
they're so gerrymandered where they pick, they cut around places so they can pick their voters. So, I mean, when you look at Georgia Senate and the House, that's gerrymandered,
Mhm.
where if everything was equal, they might have a harder time holding control of their seats.
Mhm.
Now, now you're throwing in the next election happen. Now you can have that chaos because now you're having their government like, oh no, those states wasn't right, even though they were legitimately correct. You could be like, nah, no, no, we're not taking the county with all those blacks down there. No, we're not gonna do that. Oh, even the white people who don't vote for us, no, we're just gonna, and that's the big thing to take away from it. Like, I know everybody frames it, the media frames it as African Americans, people of color, their voting rights are being attacked, but that's how things start. Just because it seemed like we're getting attacked doesn't mean it's not going to affect you too.
Yeah, it's
Because if you
affecting
live in these,
everybody.
yeah, if you
Yeah.
live in those areas, it's going to affect you.
Yeah.
And if you don't vote a certain way, eventually they're going to be like, mhm. you know, uh, running for Congress and being in government government service is like a civil service. It's not a you serve yourself. It's you are serving your community around you. I
Mhm.
think nowadays it's gotten to where these people just want that power and they don't care how they get it. They just want to hold on to it. That you don't have any, you can't run off your ideals because you
Mhm.
have none. Your only ideal is about how I can keep Kendall in his seat,
Yeah.
and I can still be cozy up with the money, the lobbyists and
Mhm.
people feeding me money, the vote a certain way, and yeah, I mean that bills have been a big. There's been some blowback because I know you've seen the MLB pulled out their
Oh yeah,
All
so
Star
a
game,
lot
and
of yeah. So with you like you said the MLB and probably future big events are probably going to do the same in
Hmm.
regards that feel the same way. Why do you think this year, of all this year, I get it to Joe Biden, but you probably mean you can agree Joe Biden is not our savior. He's
Mm-hmm.
just the opposite choice, like most people. He's just the
Mm-hmm.
opposite choice of Trump, which
Yeah.
I have no caring for him. Trump itself, and I never thought Joe Biden was just my savior. He just
Mm.
the opposite of my man there, the
Yeah.
orange man.
Yeah.
So why is this year been so prevalent with everything like something like this happening? Because I mean, I'm pretty sure other past years, well, I guess because they flipped totally blue. Is that why do you think they did?
I I think it's about. I think this is the whole reckoning that America's having right now. Though it's just people are being sold
Hmm.
from the news media
Yeah,
from all news media that a way of life is going away
yeah,
because other people are now starting to become the minority or majority people in the country.
yeah.
So what you hold near and dear is gone. It's going away.
Got
You're
you.
gonna lose that. When if you talk to day-to-day people, we all want the same thing.
Yeah,
So it's just like it's a group of people that just want to hold on to what they believe are their ideals. That without those ideals, our country won't be great.
hmm,
However, you can't be great if everybody's not being able to be them best selves. If you're keeping people down, how can you expect somebody? How can we expect to keep up with other countries who don't have these issues when
yeah,
we're too busy trying to keep the population down, or we're not embracing who we are? Like I feel like we America just needs to embrace who we need to embrace that our country was founded on the killings of Native Americans. They embrace that we had slavery in this country and slaves built a lot of things in this country. We need to embrace. Yeah, it's a stain, but damn, just embrace it. This is 2021.
hmm.
There is nothing we can nothing. We ain't going back to those days. No, because
No,
nobody wants to go there.
no.
Like nobody. Even the people who think they want to go, they don't want that life.
Hmm.
We're past that. But people don't want to just sit down and just be like, you know what? Times are changing,
Yes.
and just because they're changing don't mean things are actually going to change. You may think it's going to change, but not really. It's not going to change.
Hmm.
And then too, I guess people are afraid of the change too because they feel like their opinions are going to be drowned out. Which
Mm.
I do agree. Nowadays, you can't have an opinion on anything, like anything.
Do you think in the midst of trying to make everyone voices heard that we're ending up drowning each other out in a sense? Like
Well, because everybody voice is more important than the other person.
in
So
yeah.
I can, like, for example, like for a conservative person,
Hmm.
like homosexuality.
Hmm.
I'm not saying everybody thinks it's right or thinks
Hmm.
it's wrong, but if you believe that is wrong so
You now
passionately,
become, yeah, you
yeah,
become,
it
yeah.
becomes it sort of becomes toxic to where
Hmm.
everything you're doing is to keep us to stay away from like homosexual people. Like,
Hmm.
um, they had that lawsuit with the bakers in Colorado because they
Okay.
didn't want to bake the gay people wedding cake
Yeah.
because that was against their religion.
Got you.
So I mean, we're going to these extremes because you don't want to see stuff happen. Like, I think was it under Obama where they passed where same-sex marriage is now
Yeah, I think so.
legalized. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
people take that strongly personally. Where me, even though I'm a Christian, I necessarily don't believe in that. But if there was a law passed that they can get married now, in my mind, I rationalize it as now you can pay the same amount of taxes I pay because you're married now.
Yeah, I mean, you just pay. I mean, because like you said, man, it doesn't change anything for me or you
Mm,
or other people who are upset about it. It doesn't like these people are not shape shifting
nope.
or people like that because what really wrapped up this like makes this make sense of like the kind of like the separation but still one country thing that we're going through.
Hmm.
Have you seen the last episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Ooh, did I, man? Ooh, that was so good, so good.
That that speech right there. of the people who are going through. I'm just doing a overview. The people who are going through turmoil right now over everything that they feel like they're losing their voice at. That's how everybody of your counterparts have been feeling for decades and generations.
Hmm.
The struggles that you're going through right now with everything in the shift and you feeling like a quote unquote villain almost in a sense, even though that's not really the case. It's just showing that we need to acknowledge the things that have been going on under the radar that we it's
Hmm.
been big, but they it made it under the radar based on how our country set up.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people have been dealing with forever.
Hmm.
These identity crises of trying to be a patriot in a country where if you are a person of color, it's not necessarily meant for you.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's like, you hear the stories of the World War II veterans coming home, the African American ones, they come
Correct.
home, you're a hero
Mhm.
overseas, but when you come home, you're back to being Jim Crow.
And
And
some of
then
them are
two,
killed.
yeah,
Some of them are killed.
exactly. And two, like when you think of changes, when segregation happened, yeah, it was a big deal. But look at us now. Did anything fundamentally change with schools being integrated, with restaurants and lives? No, we're just everybody still continue to do the day-to-day thing. Nothing
It,
really
yeah.
stopped.
No.
So just because it seemed like your way of life, and this is why I hate the media, dude, because
Yeah.
good news isn't good news. Good news isn't good ratings.
Mhm.
So even after I knew it was going to happen too, Trump's been out of office, and they're still trying to find like negative. They looking for anything, bro.
Yeah.
Joe Biden dog bit somebody. Joe Biden got rescue dogs. Joe Biden dog bit some. They're making a big story out there. Like, dude, he got rescue dogs. They're not around a
Yeah.
lot of people. How you think they're gonna react?
And
Like,
dogs bite. I mean that.
yeah, but it's like the news is so they trying so I don't know. They don't care about it. They don't know they're doing it, but they're so desperately trying to keep us divided, bro. Like, and they'll take any little thing to divide us, man. Is that Dr.
Mhm.
Seuss? Oh, Dr. Seuss is racist. Oh no, he's not racist. It's like they'll do anything they can to keep us
Mhm.
divided. When if we open our eyes and just I know we talked about last week, just having intentional relationships with people that don't look like us, or
Mhm.
people who don't vote like us, or people who don't live like us. If you intentionally have a relationship with somebody and you get to know somebody, your whole opinion is going to matter. You, you, 9 times out of 10, the black family and the white family are going to realize that they both got kids, both their sets of kids drive them the hell crazy,
Yeah.
and we're all just trying to make it to the next day.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what it is. And getting back to the Georgia thing is just like people are afraid of change for some odd reason.
Mhm.
Because I guess people associate change with negative things, which
Mhm.
I mean, with more freedom in America, there has been a little bit of things like homosexuality is a little bit more open than what it used to be. Women are more sexualized than what they used to be.
Mhm.
Well, is it really women being sexualized or men just not being able to control themselves? So just
Yeah,
we
and
just
then
don't
women
never
getting
know.
more are feeling more empowered than ever
Yeah.
before, and I think in any time frame of the
Yeah, which is a good thing, right? We
good
don't,
thing.
you don't
Yeah.
want,
Mhm.
there should be no need that women can't hold their heads up high with their husbands instead of their husband holding their head high, and then you just like,
Cause my thing is I don't have to have my wife behind me to be her. I could have her beside me, which I would like
mhm,
her anyway, because we
yeah,
do this as a team, not as me
mhm,
leading it and you are my, fall behind. You get what
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
saying?
shoot, my wife can be in front of me sometimes, like, cause
Yeah.
I'll just put my head through her shoulder, like, hey,
Yeah.
hey.
And yeah, man, that's like you said, the change is scary for a lot of people, especially with I guess now we're trying to lean more towards the actual term freedom, the freedom part
Yeah,
of the country.
mhm,
And like, we was all cool for just saying the word, but we don't want y'all to actually do the definition. You know?
yeah. So let me ask you a question, because with the bill, businesses started. Coca Cola spoke out. American Airlines, some of the airlines did. I mean, Coca Cola is like one of the largest job creators in Georgia. Like movies, Will Smith pulled out his movie.
Mhm.
So this with them, MLB pulled the All Star game out. So the state's losing revenue now. They're
Which
losing jobs because
impacts
people.
which
Yeah,
impacts the actual people there too.
yeah. So my question to you it's because Tyler Perry made it. Tyler Perry's like, we shouldn't be pulling
Pulling
out
that out.
just because they're making these bills. Maybe we can do more to make sure everybody's registered and stuff like that. So, what's your opinion on it? Because
They
to me,
go ahead.
honestly, this is like it's in a way it's like cancel culture. Like, yeah, some of the things in the bills is good. Some of the things are in the bill extremely bad. You got some good, but like if your reaction is to run away, like, oh, we're just not good. Aren't you really hurting the people that really matter?
Yes. I like Tyler Perry said, and just like you said, you want to still stay in the state of Georgia. You would not want to pull out because that's what they want you to do.
Hmm.
The people who change up the rules of the game, they want you to take your ball and go home so they can play their game and win without you being there.
Mm.
That's pretty much the sense of it all.
Okay.
So don't pull out, Coca-Cola. Like I get it, like y'all can be upset and stuff like that. Definitely do that. But like you said too, the way that you beat them is by making a new plan to beat them at their own game. So you, like
Exactly.
you said, you need to, like you said, register early or make sure everyone's doing their due diligence to get people registered for the next come around to make sure that the votes are still being just as impacted. But now, I think more than ever this year, like leading up from last year into this year and right now, voting is now is a more aggressive word than it's ever been before.
Hmm.
I think we've always heard vote even when Obama voted like that was a big time in Black history just for the mere fact of someone of color making it into office.
Hmm.
We never said that he had to be the savior of the country, which he couldn't be. I don't think no president ever could be because you're gonna figure out a way of any side to make him fail.
Hmm.
Um, but people must still stay in Georgia. You can't pull out these big businesses because now you're hurting your own economy. You're hurting the people who need those jobs. Like you said, the Coca-Cola factory. You
Hmm.
need, people need those type of jobs to fit for their kids and blah, for them to do sports and for them to do extracurricular activity for you to get all this and this and that and other businesses, black businesses. It's gonna be a black hub in Atlanta. Atlanta is like the black Hollywood when it
Hmm.
comes to anything. So yes, you must figure out, devise a plan, take those intelligent people, and y'all figure out a way to now the people of the trying to make it a red state again because obviously they wanted to. Hey, figure out a way to keep it blue if that's the case.
Hmm.
That's how I'll look at it. I mean, because don't cower it away because that's what they want you to do.
Yeah, and two, I think we got to get past this red and blue thing. We need to elect people who actually has some ideals and actually want
Mhm.
to help,
Yeah.
like your day to day. To me nowadays, if you're not proposing anything to help with regular people day to day lives,
Mhm.
I'm gonna think twice about you because now, like especially people who are elected now, I'm getting to watch you. I get to watch like I've always been into politics because I work for the government, but now I'm like, and I wanted to be like a government lawyer. So
Mhm.
now, just even being more in tune with it, now I watch so much of it. I'm just like, okay, I can pinpoint what especially the people around me in my area. I shoot, I live in one of the hottest growing counties right now. We need to make sure we got some safe roads.
Yeah.
We got to make sure people got some jobs. We got to make sure sewage is draining right. Cause my old neighborhood, everybody yard was just like flooding. So just like those are the type of things I want to hear people talk about. Not just like we got to own the libs or oh that's wrong. Cause everyone's like no, talk to me in my love language. What are you gonna do for us?
Yeah, like you said, it's because regular people make up majority of the country more than the officials and
Hmm.
and all the congressmen and all that stuff like that. So and then for the people, the regular people, realizing that your neighbor is your neighbor, so we all need to be empathizing with each other,
Yeah.
motion, not trying to make the outlook of the country look like how you envision in your head.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the envisionment of the country is we're a melting pot of several thousands of cultures, or however you want to break that down. Like just melting pot of just different flavors and seasonings. So
Hmm.
why do we sit here and push back against it all the time? That's the
Yeah.
thing. Why y'all push back against it? All y'all we enjoy these flavors of life at these restaurants, the different styles of sports in which different cultures make the exceed to a different level. Why do y'all push back at it when it comes voting time? When it comes voting time, we're all of a sudden, I don't like you, you don't like me, don't talk to me, I hate you. That's what we do. Like, and it makes no sense.
No, it doesn't, bro. It doesn't.
Grown men and adults sit here and have pissing parties over nothing.
Yeah.
Then meanwhile, after y'all leave y'all pissing party, y'all go home, y'all live right next door to each other.
Hmm.
And then wave at each other when you hey as you go get your mail.
Yeah. How the kids doing?
Yeah, yeah. All of a sudden, your kids back outside riding bikes with each other. So
I mean, they were playing the whole time. They were looking at us like we stupid. Like,
mhm.
what's y'all problem? So,
But you don't realize what you should be hating until you're an adult. Because like as a kid, and y'all mix into each other, you don't think about it until your parents either spew it into your life or
hmm
you become an adult and you watch and view it on TV. Because I mean, I couldn't tell you. Let's see. Can I tell you what age I was when I realized the country wasn't all that I thought it was? I probably was about to be grown. I probably was grown. I probably was getting like I was in my early late teens. Like that late that 19, that 20 area. I don't think my middle school days I had any idea, or my early high school days I had any idea for real.
I'm gonna say like college, bro. Because
Yeah,
well,
I
even
think
then, maybe after a
yeah.
little bit. Because I mean,
Uh
I
huh.
grew up in such a Jacksonville is so diverse. You
Say
really
out
don't
yeah.
run into those.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got your outliers, but then
Yeah.
they're the outlier. I mean,
Yeah, because I grew up in majority like my middle school, my early high school years were in Texas, very diverse area. Mexican, white. You got Persian people I've ran
hmm
into. So I end up meeting and encountering all these different cultures of people, and some of them you call friends, and some of them you play sports with. So you go, that's like one of the like a type of battle you go to. You go to battle with your brothers, and they
hmm
all look different. Only thing is the same is our jersey color and helmets.
Yep.
And so, did we leave that? Did we play basketball after school at someone's house and something like that?
hmm
And we're in each other's homes, meeting each other's parents and stuff like that. And so it almost is always baffling when we get to an adult age and then we involve politics to our lives. Now we're paying taxes. Now we,
hmm
stuff like that. It's always so crazy how all of a sudden we separate from each other. We act like we don't know each other. Now you're looking real unfamiliar, like I've never seen you before, even though we did all this other stuff together.
Exactly.
Because of
Or,
weird job, weird job occupations that made us this way.
man.
When we all should be a family. But speaking of families, on
Woo!
our last topic here, we're talking about the royal family. Now, when all
My
the royal
crown
family
on.
stuff started
Put my
kicking
crown on.
off, we were on a little bit of break because Kendall and the family were down for a little bit, and
Down.
so I think what came out, we had the Meghan Markle and was it? Is her
Uh,
husband's Prince Harry?
yeah, yeah,
It's
Prince
Harry.
Harry. Well, Harry Hillman, he just referred to him as Big Hair.
Big hair. He had the
Eh,
hair. He had that interview with Oprah
hmm
because some stuff had been speculating coming out of the family that we've had some. I think Megan was like going through some mental health issues with the
hmm
whole trying to integrate with the family, but obviously not being wanted by
Yeah,
the royal family because she was of the a little bit of darker complexion and not like my dark. She's obviously lighter than me,
bruh. See
but
about Harry color. We talking about dark. You
yeah,
talking
but
about
it ain't pure. If it
Megan.
ain't pure
Oh,
though, it
woo.
ain't pure though. It ain't that.
It's
Oh
not
man,
that
that's
pure.
untouched.
Hey, it's not that pure Montana cocaine.
Yeah, it ain't that pure. It's too
That
much.
American. Mm,
Yeah, it's that
mm,
she falls into that one drop theory.
the,
One drop and you're tainted. So
ah.
that's how the royal family. So we had that. So let's start there. Because I didn't actually get to watch it. I'm feeling like you watched the
Oh yeah,
interview.
yeah. That's because that's when I had the week I had Corona. So that's all. Hey, I think yeah, it was like almost 2 hours of the interview. So it was pretty good, I guess, because she just talked about their time
Mhm,
and how the British tabloids. It's kind of funny because I don't even think it's more racist
mhm,
than it is the more bloodline thing.
Could be.
Because the way Oprah and how Harry was talking to Meghan about it, it's kind of like they were mirroring what happened to Diana.
Mhm,
And Harry was just like, yeah,
Diana's is Harry's mother.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
killed in a car crash because of
Mm-hmm.
paparazzi
Hmm.
chasing after him. So, but she talked about her mental health and how she talked about how the crown is like an institution and you have to go through certain people to do
Yeah.
certain things. When she was when she married into the family, she didn't know that she was basically giving up her friend time and her life basically, and guess it took a mental toll. And then when she got pregnant, they won't say who. Harry won't say who made the comment, but they was like, how did that baby go look like Idris, or that baby go look like I don't know, some light skinned baby.
But if it's institutions and bloodline thing, that's normally upheld by rich people, more or less of the fair skin. That's
Yeah.
just
Well, if you think what she married into the world conquering. This is the monarch that conquered the world, the British
yes, like
Empire.
they
The
like
sun never set,
the
bro.
yeah, in which I guess my only thing for her, whenever you're dating somebody, I don't care how you meet, you know who he is. Once you meet him, he's Prince
Yeah.
Harry.
Hmm.
Okay, he's of the royal family. For Prince Harry, it would be up to you before you brought this young lady into your fold
Hmm.
to really, unless he was unknowing, but I don't think that's the case. You couldn't be that. Oh, you think he was
It's pop.
unknowing?
I mean, you see the black people. Nobody else brought in black people, so you would have never got to know if you never had hey, this is my girlfriend. And two, like to go back when Megan was like in her interview, she was like, "Oh, I didn't know who Harry was." I was sitting there like, Tick, you telling me you ain't know who Harry was? Okay, so the fact that you didn't know who Harry was, when you learned who Harry was, you telling me you ain't go look
You
Harry
didn't
up and
ask no
see? Yeah,
question.
you didn't go Google and be like royal family.
Royal family.
Especially in this day and age, Mega, you like 5 years older than me. You are tech savvy just like the rest of us. So you telling me you ain't never ever Google search any of this? That when she said that, I was just like, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that.
Now you can say you didn't care. Like I don't care for the royal family. So like their day to day lives doesn't matter to me.
Hmm.
But like to know for if I'm of a celebrity, because now Meghan Markle not the biggest celebrity, but she's been on shows, she's
Yes,
acted.
she's like
So you're
B
in there,
level, B level.
you're not. So y'all two meeting is more normal than if I met Meghan Markle at a gathering, and I work at a regular 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to know the whole family in their names,
No.
but you are aware of Prince Harry. That's I ain't gonna let you quite slide with that. But
Mm.
continue on, Kendall. I'll let you go.
Oh, now you were going somewhere. I think you were talking about what were you
Just
talking
all the
about?
institution and
Yeah,
then just
institution. There we
bloodline.
go.
Because when you have institutions, you have the bloodlines and of the normal from what we know history in the medieval times and the blah blah blah. That they uphold those bloodlines. They normally try to keep it close to the cloth. They don't
Yeah.
like to kind of extend out into different venues, especially different cultures. So with the whole Meghan Markle and the bloodline thing, she automatically taints it just on the mere fact of just culturally,
Hmm.
you know, because you're not 100% white. You're a mixed
Yeah.
adult,
But even
Now,
on the before
go,
we'll
go
touch on
ahead.
that
Yeah,
the
yeah,
little
yeah.
nasty
We'll touch
part.
it. Yeah, yeah.
But I was gonna say, so after the interview, and
Uh-huh.
it was more like just they're just airing out their side and their story about everything that went on, because
Yeah.
they did talk about she made Kate cry when apparently Kate made her cry during the wedding and stuff. And I mean, the interview was just like I'm just like, why? At the end of it, I'm just like, why am I watching this, first of all? And then the second thing is it wrong for me? I mean, I understand she had mental issues and doing things,
Hmm.
but the things I don't want to downplay mental health and stuff, but like you're dealing, basically, they're just telling you that this is what you go smile and do all this, and everything else is provided for you. I mean, basically, your life is provided for. You get your own security detail. You can
Hmm.
eat. You wear it all kind of. You can wear any kind of jewels you want. I mean, you're basically set for life, and I can understand where that could be taxing on you. But for Kendall, who's in St. Johns County, just trying to have a regular middle class life. I feel like that don't really relate to. I feel like that just don't relate. I mean,
It
y'all
do,
having issues. Just
what
y'all, a whole bunch of rich people having issues.
hmm what Megan put herself in that she I guess I find it hard to believe with people getting involved with people. Like when you got involved with April, when I got involved with Amber, as your relationship progresses on and you learn more and more about the others, like just them and their family, you
Hmm.
begin to that point where you make that choice to keep of the continuation.
Hmm.
So not only are you with Prince Harry, you guys have a child together.
Hmm.
So you made a decision to continue on even though you're you're now expressing to Oprah of all the mental battles that you dealt with.
Yeah.
Being this is because it's a royal family. It's just like like you can't just do anything being part of the royal family. Just like you can't just do anything being the president. You are
Hmm.
no longer of regular status. Like
Hmm.
yes, you're Meghan Markle, the actor, and this and that. But now you're Meghan Markle of the royal family. Well, obviously they separate
Yeah,
themselves from it.
they they
But
they they try to do.
yeah, but at the time, you're now becoming just like Kate is. You're a part of the fold of the royal family, and that comes with certain expectations and a
Hmm.
certain livelihood, and they have to do a certain thing by a certain manner. So you got to a point where you crossed that turnaround line. You got to a point where you were like, "I'm gonna just keep going." When you probably saw a lot of red flags,
Mm. You
I'm
had
pretty sure
to.
they showed their color. There's no way now they're showing their color. I'm pretty sure after however long them and her and Prince Harry were together, and then you
Hmm.
go overseas and you meet the Queen
Yeah.
and you start meeting the family. Y'all eating dinner a couple times. As day by day, people let character flaws slip every
Hmm.
so often. There's no way to hide your flaws at all times.
Mm-mm.
So
Like one of Harry aunties had on like a little black little lady pin on her dress one time. I mean, and she came out and said, "I didn't know that would offend her."
they doing what they were doing was subtleties of offensive things
Yeah.
to almost in quote unquote scare you off. So because yeah, they wouldn't probably be too blatant. I'm not saying they couldn't. I'm not in the royal palace, so I can't say they're not being blatant. But to put it like you said, a pin. Oh, I didn't know that would offend the girl who is half black. I wouldn't, I wouldn't. Like, doesn't make any sense. No
Yeah.
one at this time in 2021 is oblivious.
Mhm.
This oblivious, especially at
Not
their
even they
nature.
old, but yeah.
Not when they have all of that they have that's behind their family with every little conspiracy theory there is. They're behind the royal family and
Mhm.
what happened to Diana and
Yeah.
so like
Speaking of conspiracy
yes, go
theories
ahead,
or
go.
just theories,
Okay.
we was touching on that bloodline. And did
Mhm.
you know, rest in peace to Prince, was it Andrew or Philip that died? I can't remember the name. Because
Shoot.
I get them two mixed up all the time for some odd reason. But
Uh,
did you know that
okay.
he was a cousin of the Queen?
So I learned that out listening to Kevin. And I didn't know that because I think their grandfather. It was so crazy because that was her husband, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was her husband. I'm looking it up now. But yeah, that was her husband.
And I think I was talking to. I think Kevin and them were trying to break it down in the sense where yes, when they're trying to keep that bloodline of the purest,
So
you
it was Prince Philip.
is Prince Philip trying to keep that bloodline of the purest, so you end up having where you have what's it like? What are they like? Third cousins or second? Were they third?
Um, it wasn't too. They weren't too far down the line,
It
so it
went
was
too
second or
far down the
third.
line. They were
Yeah, it
just. I
was.
think they were. They were.
It was pretty
It's funny.
wild. It's
It's
pretty
funny that we
wild.
try to break this down. Like they were just far enough,
Just
but
far
they,
enough.
but because with mixing the same blood, your child comes out sometimes either with mental issues or disformities,
Hmm.
and so Kevin was like, the ones who does have like the mental issue, they send them off to another place.
Which is
So,
wild,
which is wild.
because that means you got some royals out here That might
who are not of,
mm,
because they're, yeah. And like you said, you have this, and that's just part of like the royal, that crest, upholding the family, because the family couldn't remain this if there was so many different people bringing, because you don't want a regular just Germans and Polish people, and just breaking in their bloodlines into the royal British family. No, we're just breaking this down. You can't have a bunch of Meghan Markles. Let them bring Leslie Jones in this month. You're not gonna have that happen, because y'all have just messed up the whole
mm.
pot. Now you got this color, you can't see. You got this color now. You no longer, you're mixed. You're no
Oh,
longer
so
just
this is what they want though. That pure,
they want
that
that. They want the clear,
that
but no,
pure
you can't
H
have.
two
No, you
O.
got this bloodline right
Mm,
here. Y'all can't. For those that are watching
mm.
and see this, people listening, we're holding up two different liquids of different
Yeah,
colors.
and mine
Um,
was pure than Destiny.
yeah,
You know,
now it
he,
has antioxidants in it, but it's it's not
man.
it's not the regular H2O water that purified.
No, it's not just, and it's not just regular though. It's that purified, pristine from the
Yes,
hills from the
yes.
Zephyr Hills. We ain't talking about Aquafina. We talking about this. We
So,
want that Zephyr Hills.
because I think the royal family is the last institution of like having what king and queen in, and
I mean,
I
you
think
got
other.
Saudi Arabia got their royal families.
Okay, but
So
this is the big. This is the most popular one right here. I think, right? The royal.
yeah, I guess,
Would you
yeah,
say they're the most
yeah,
pop?
they
Would
might
you
be the
say the most popular institute of the king and
probably. I
queen?
mean,
Because they're the
is
royal
is it
family.
is it popularity or is it because we conquered everybody? So you got. I mean,
Obviously, because I think her net worth is ridiculous. I think the royal family net worth is like something goofy, but
I don't know though, because my man Jeff Bezos still the richest person in the world, so they ain't that.
richest person, but I think they can get more done than Jeff Bezos can. I think if it came down to it,
Hey, when
I
Cardi,
think they had you knocked out before Jeff Bezos could.
that's true.
So
And it's funny though, because when Cardi B first came out, and she was like, these are bloody shoes. Somebody had a meme of the queen walking around with her stilettos, like these
these
are
are,
bloody.
but it's like them. They got their family conspiracies of things happening, just like you hear what the Clintons have
Mhm.
stuff in hand.
Yeah, because Prince Andrew was the one that was with your boy, Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, on that island. So that's why I get them.
So
Hey,
yeah, and
hey, he was out there like, hey, come here, little girl. Hey.
because what brings me that part of that, it will come back to, just a side note. The whole that was going on during while me and you were existing, right? But we
Yeah.
have no awareness of it. Because when did you become aware of the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing?
Whew,
When the documentary happened, or when he went to
when he first got arrested in Florida, it came up.
what year was that?
That would have been because we did some things in high school that dealt with human trafficking, and
Okay,
he was brought up. Even though charges were never put against him.
got you. So
So it was early, but you never
then you
put
just kind of
you didn't put two to two together until later on, and you're like, dang.
okay. So you got that, and then let's just say now I know you. I don't think you watched it. Tiger King. Tiger King
Oh
was
yeah. Oh,
fully.
bruh.
Did you?
Bruh,
Okay.
come
So
on,
Tiger
man.
King
That
was
was
Tiger King.
number one.
So when it was happening, it was fully going on during a time frame when we were just living.
Yeah, that's true.
My
Yeah.
man ran for president. I had no awareness of him until his documentary came out. Till his little docu series came out. So I had no
Man.
awareness of him. So and then also the last one, me and my wife just started watching Ozarks, and in that show there's drug trafficking, and she asked me a question like, how often do you think something like this is happening, even though it might be dramatized? So I asked her,
Uh,
what part of it do you think is dramatized? And she was like, um the family dynamic, them could being the person who are trafficking, drugs and stuff like that.
mhm,
I go, I'm not gonna say that it's fully not dramatized or it's not. Sometimes stuff is going on, you just don't know it.
mm.
Because a lot of times when it comes to like large businesses of trafficking like that money, you normally use the unassuming white guy who has a family and stuff like that. So
It's just easier. I mean,
it's just
come,
easier. It's
man.
just easier. And then so it becomes crazy because the cartel is the cartel.
Hmm.
They just do cartelish things.
Yeah.
But for them to do their businesses in America, you got to have cover ups.
Hmm.
So it's just so funny that we all the stuff is like going on in our lives, but sometimes we're not aware of what's going on. Because Kenny, you get up, hey, I didn't go to the grocery store, but
Hmm.
meanwhile, across the country, somewhere there, there's a drug business going
I mean, it could be one in the parking lot in Butler, for all
right
I
now.
know.
Something in
Hey,
your lease up under your nose.
yeah.
But that was just a little side note. I just thought when you
Hey,
said that Jeffrey Epstein and just how stuff was just happening, and
and we're just living.
you're just living like because I did nothing about trafficking in high school. So when you brought up Jeffrey Epstein and then we started talking about the story in our podcast we did way back
Mm.
when, it was like I think it was like what 2007 or something like that he got like the first like
Yeah, it was between. Yeah, I was in high school, so it would
because
have
you
been
would have you would have graduated what
7. It would have been 7. So it might have been like because
oh
this was like
six oh
yeah,
six
because we were
some
doing this is when we did I don't know, we was doing I think we were doing that. I think I can't remember, but yeah, that's when I was first introduced to the
yeah.
whole thing.
I know no awareness of Jeffrey Epstein until you brought it up to me, and I looked back on the case, and then I saw the documentary, and then you just realize his span of time in which he's
Yeah,
doing all the BS and whatnot, and so it just goes to show you that just because people be out here, don't mean everyone knows about
yeah, that's true. That's
them.
very
You know
true.
what I'm saying?
Hey, and side note, Carol did murder her husband. I just want y'all to know that.
Oh, Carol Baskin, yeah, yeah,
I
she
don't care.
fed
None of
that.
y'all did. Hey, one of y'all better go check one of them puppy stomach because he
Yeah,
gone,
Carol Baskin is she did that.
gone.
But back to your royal family before we tie up and get up out of here. Yeah, man, it's just this is as someone who, if I could put myself in Meghan Markle's shoe, I don't. Why would you? I guess maybe I'm thinking about myself. This is 2020 hindsight. Like I'm
Hmm.
thinking for what I know, and basically maybe because I've just learned all the information now, I'm just going back and I'm just reacting to her.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go this far. I guess, or is she unaware of her own skin color? Like, oh, because you
maybe she just thought she because Megan blends in really well. I mean, she's hella light skinned. Let's be
she's a
real.
lot, so she
I
can
mean,
almost pass for like a white person being tan, if you want to say it
mhm,
like that. You get what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
Like
and then
our girl, what was my girl that was the white lady that was being that was a Rachel
oh,
something?
it was in the NAACP. She was Jesus.
Hey,
Yeah,
listen, I would have been down for the
she
cause.
had
Hey,
everyone
she was down for the
fooled.
cause though. What?
She down for the
Hey,
cause, yeah.
she
And
all right in my book.
she said to this day,
Hey,
still believes, hey,
hey,
she's supposed to
listen,
be black,
hey,
hey.
listen. She's good in
But
my book.
like you said, like yeah, and Megan is very light skinned, but does that not put us like a red flag for her that you're not aware enough of like just because you're very light skinned, are you falling into like that privilege of I can almost step over here
Maybe, and
with
she
these?
was like you mentioned earlier, she was a celebrity. Yeah, she was in shows and stuff. So I'm sure there was some willful like arrogance into. She's
Mhm,
like, hey, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna change things.
mhm.
You one
You just
person
not the
against the
royal
whole.
family. You need
Yeah,
all no. You have to change the
I
royal
mean,
family.
maybe you could change eh, some things, but that's deep seated, girl. Listen, they marrying cousins. It's hard to get. I mean, it's hard
Yeah,
to get
yeah, it's
that.
harder. Yeah,
I mean,
and
shoot.
some people like money so much that they're willing to keep it protected. Like, hey,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say nothing because this I am taking care of for the rest of my life. I have protective services, blase blase. I have this wealth of just everything, and all I gotta do is just not talk about what goes on behind the doors. Because I think the
Mhm.
royal family hates the paparazzi because they don't want none of their information out.
Mm-mm.
But what else you got for him, man? What else you got for the royal family? What you got on there, man?
I mean, that's all I had, bro. Hey, hey,
But
I'm about to watch the Crown, though. I do want to watch that.
I might have too because
Yeah, I do want to
I
watch the
kind of
Crown.
want to know more. We probably come back on here and kind of get some more like so
Hey,
we find out.
see us in the
But
fall time after we watch the Crown.
so in our closeout of here, so I showed Kendall some comments on some of my last posts, and I would like to say like even though we might get some negativity. out here, Kendall, I think that we still do a good enough job as a podcast as
Yeah,
ourselves,
I would think so.
and um, because I was thinking on that, because I've seen those two comments, and and I was kind of like hesitant to even like let you just see them because I didn't want to bring you into because even though we might go, ah man, whatever, that
Yeah,
stuff sits in the back of your head.
that's true.
You start second guessing yourself when you get on here. Do you want to continue on
Hmm.
podcasting? Do you want to do, am I even worth even speaking my voice or anything?
Yeah,
But we saw though that one comment on one of the videos that was posted, they took themselves, they deleted their comment. And I guess because both, well, I had two comments, and both of them I responded in a way of, all right, I appreciate your feedback, whatnot, and we'll continue on our
hmm,
growth, pretty much, because you need the good criticism, and I need the good
I
opinions,
want
and we
all the.
also,
Give me all the bad. Give me
and
all
then I
the
need the you
smoke.
need the you
Yeah,
need the bad criticism because the bad ones are going to point out the flaws, even if
yeah.
they're unwarranted, even if they're not, if they're just people trolling because people like to be them thumb thugs behind the keyboard.
Keyboard warriors, bro. Keyboard warriors.
They just want to just they don't want to see nobody just be, I guess, positive. 'Cause I don't think we slander anybody unless you just really did something just like Jeffrey Epstein. We had to slander him.
Yeah,
You just
he deserved that slander.
there's nothing good about Jeffrey Epstein what he did.
Hmm.
But I think for the most part, me and Kendall try to do a good job of balancing, between our opinions and making sure the information is fully out there before we go in on one side,
Hmm.
because, I think one was a Deshaun Watson one. We still don't have all the information. It still hasn't unfolded. So, I say that to say I took those comments, even though I thought some at the time, Kendall, when I
Hmm.
was not on here about myself and what my future content would be. But then I said, you know what? It comes with it. And I know this. And I know better that with us putting this stuff on YouTube, people like this are going to come.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But like I said, man, like I said, I thank you for, joining, still being on the journey with you, boy. And I think we're still growing and getting better.
Yes, sir.
But any closing remarks before we get out of here, man?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna come one more time back to cancel culture
Yeah.
because obviously y'all trying to cancel us already in the comment section, but it's okay.
Talk to you.
We here for all that. We here for all the smoke, dog.
Alt.
We didn't change the logo just because we were gonna run away. So anyway,
Yeah.
but cancel culture again has reared its ugly head. And this is with LeBron James and LeBron. With the like I mentioned earlier, they're killing the young. I'm
Okay.
not gonna
Yeah.
McKay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And LeBron posted something on his Twitter account before we got any information, and it was after the George Floyd because I think that happened the same day or the day before,
Yeah.
and he was like, "You're next." Accountability of the
Yeah.
picture of the officer, and then he took it down. He took it down immediately, and he apologized because later on that day we found out Homegirl was about to go on a rampage on some nice and stuff. So as I mentioned earlier, a situation where we until we have all the evidence, you can't we shouldn't be commenting anyway. I mean, I think LeBron was probably wrong for doing that because I mean it's
Well,
LeBron James.
but he came back on another
He did
tweet and took
apologize.
account. You like
Yeah,
you get
as I mentioned, he apologized. He came back, but it's like we are so quick to want to cancel somebody. Like, why? Why? We need to stop on all sides. We need to just stop. If we continue to go like this, it's not gonna get any better. So if somebody says something stupid, let them know they said something stupid. Let them know they said something wrong, and also give them the space to learn and grow and welcome them back into the circle of life and not kick them out to the curb.
Mhm.
Because y'all killing me with y'all killing me with no thick skin. Y'all need to grow some thick skin.
Yeah. All people
Thick
need to
skin.
cancel is rapists and pedophiles. Cancel them and murderers.
Amen.
Yeah, you cancel them.
Amen.
There you go.
So let me leave you with this tidbit. Think of yourself as a pork rind. Learn how to grow that crusty, crispy, sometimes succulent, delicate piece of skin. So when things like LeBron James tweeting at you or somebody saying Glenn Beck saying something stupid to you, just remember just like You said what you said was wrong, but I'm gonna give you opportunity to correct it, and that has been the circle.
I like it. I like it. With that being said, I have been Destin Parker. That has been Kennel Island, guys. This has been the Smooth Way Podcast, guys, and we out. Peace.
TMX forever.